from the Cowboys. Come on. Thank you all for being here, and for all of you tuning in across the country to welcome our future NFL stars. We already have a record tonight. Let's get it started.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jake from TNJ, and welcome to the off-season coming off of a national championship. And once again, we have another contract extension. Let's just look at the journey up to this point. Started out 1-11, 5-7, 8-5, and from there, 3 straight 11-win seasons, and then the perfect season last year. I'm ready to do it all again. So Quintarius Jones, our defensive coordinator, has accepted the head coaching job at South Carolina. He will move to the SEC. Let's just take a look at his contract. And man, he's got an uphill battle with this team. It looks like they have had two winning seasons in the last 5 years, but besides that, it hasn't been bright. So he's going to have an uphill battle. And then Adam Miller decides to move on. He got what he needed out of Wisconsin State, giving him another chance, and I'm proud. He goes on to be the head coach of Kansas. That's another tough program to revive, and honestly, this is much more of a challenge than South Carolina is. The recruiting going to Kansas isn't that good, so they are really going to have a tough time. Adam Miller's going to need to be on his P's and Q's, but the good thing going into this coaching job is that his prestige is at an A+. That should help him out a lot. So we will talk about our coaches later, our new ones, but take a look. Marcus Smith, our future starting quarterback maybe, is transferring to Arkansas State. I did not see this coming at all. Now, he was in line to be the starter for sure, I think, because Maverick Yarbrough has approached the coaching staff and has said he wants to move to defense. So Marcus Smith leaving is a big blow because we don't have a quarterback now. We don't have any quarterback. Maverick Yarbrough was the closest thing. We'll have to see what our options are. Now let's talk recruiting. And honestly, Marcus Smith transferring really damages our recruiting because we're going to have to go all in on different positions now, and knowing that quarterback will not be a position of strength. Now, we are losing Xavier Storm. He went to the draft along with Francis Smith, who graduated as well. So we're out 2 receivers. We need another guy who can be similar to Xavier Storm, a guy that can just take pressure off of defenses and off of other receivers. So Delroy King, we're going to go in on him. 3,000. We are in second. Hopefully we can beat Minnesota on that one. Now, because of all the departures we had on the line, with center and guard moving on, Jamari Dunn, we actually don't need a tackle, and I need a defensive end. So I am willing to put more points on Aurelio Villain, sell out for him. We are behind Michigan State, and not go after Jamari Dunn. I think it's something we have to do because we have to replace that defensive line. Along with Damon Trek, we're going to put 2,000 on him. NIU is close, so hopefully they don't put more than 3,000 on him, and Damon Trek will come. And then at tight end, we will go after Terry Owens. He does have 300-point lead on the next guy, Iowa, so we will see how that goes. Brad Christian, this is going to be one of the preferred walk-ons. I will only cover the custom recruits here in this recruiting right now because the other guys will be renamed to preferred walk-ons, guys you submitted, and this will be one of them. Now, if he commits, which I'm pretty sure he will, we're ahead 8,000 points. We don't need to really put any points on him. But looking at his throw power and throw accuracy, they will actually take a decrement by 3 points. That's how the preferred walk-ons will work. I think he's a quarterback, and I like his potential. So advancing to the signing day, some of the non-custom recruits have made their decision. Bo Moss decides not to play football, but we end up getting Delroy King by 300 points. Minnesota did go in on him, and we did end up on top. Now, Jamari Dunn, he goes to Washington, so he will not play for Quintaris Jones at South Carolina. But Aurelio Villain, we barely beat out Michigan State. This was a huge signing. We needed to replace Jonathan Simmons and also Bobby Mathis. He will definitely help, 6'5", 265. Now, Damon Trek, unfortunately, Mississippi State goes all the way in, and they end up getting him, and look at us, we end up 14,000 back. I don't know how that even happened. We were in second with him, and then some other guys who will be renamed, and it looks like Terry Owens commits to Iowa, so we miss out on him. But Brad Christian, who will be renamed to a custom recruit, a preferred walk-on, does commit. We were actually ahead by 8,000, and look at Kansas. They went all in. Adam Miller said, whoa, we got to get him, and he failed. And look at that. He ended up 2,000 back. I mean, he must have put like 7,000 points on him. That's amazing. So all in all, we end up with the 31 ranked recruiting class, and that's pretty good. We have 18 total recruits. Let's just see if any other Big Ten teams are ahead of us. Marquette finishes at 12. That's pretty good. Let's see if anybody finished top 10. Michigan finished 6. Ohio State finished 3, and Notre Dame finished 1. So looking at positional changes, now I won't look at all of them because I will reveal some of the preferred walk-ons in this episode, but a couple of note. Colson Kavoris, who we tried at defensive end throughout his career. Now I want a quick look at his stats, and they're not that impressive, and I think he might need the Jonathan Simmons treatment. Jonathan Simmons really started to be productive when he moved over to defensive tackle. That's exactly what we're going to do with Colson Kavoris. He will be number 2 on the depth chart behind Frankie Kai, but those two will be on the field together. Also, our first preferred walk-on, who I am tagging here at left outside linebacker, is Denzel Graham Jr. He is a sophomore. He is out of Riverview, Michigan, and he is a coverage linebacker. I'm going to move him over to middle because we don't have any depth here at all. It's going to be him and Tamari Jamison. Now, Tamari Jamison, because of his athleticism, will probably be the number 1 middle linebacker, but they will both play meaningful playing time because Denzel is a really good coverage linebacker, 75 man and 78 zone. And I think that the one downfall of him is he's not as athletic, but he can get off blocks. So there is going to be an interesting dilemma here with Tamari Jamison and Denzel Graham. Jamison has the experience on special teams. You can see he had 14 special teams tackles. That's a lot. And he made a big impact there. So we'll have to see how that goes in camp. And then Maverick Yarbrough has requested to move over to defense, so he will be a free safety. After training, he'll probably be up at like 75 overall as a sophomore, but he will play as our slot nickel corner. So training results, and let's look at the top 10 guys on our roster. Justin Royal comes into this season 88, our highest overall guy. Sam Price, the backup center who has not played yet. He will play for the first time these next couple of years. Hopefully he will turn out to be as good as our offensive linemen who have departed. Dorsey, Bamaye, Reed, Kavoris, Myers, Wyatt, Gaston, and Marquise Moore will all be the top guys on the roster. At receiver, Marquise Moore, and this was an interesting dilemma here. He has played high school quarterback, and I had a decision to make whether to keep him at receiver or move him over. But since he is our highest rated receiver, he has a lot of experience along with Maurice Jackson. I decided to keep him there. He is going to play on the outside. We don't have many true outside receivers right now. Marquise Moore is really the only one that has the experience over there, so he will play a big role. Now, I want to look at the receiver attributes of all these guys. Michael Bradbury has the best hands on the team. That is definitely going to help him out. Trayvon White scares me a little bit. Now, he has an issue. He drops a ton of passes in game, no matter what his ratings are. He's dropped the most passes in the last 3 years. And really, I don't know. He has good route running, but the thing is, he's got to hold on to these catches, because these passes, because I'm going to need these big time receivers to play and step up, especially with a new quarterback. Definitely got to really step up for a young quarterback. Now, Jasper Sweet, I like him. I didn't love his freshman year. He had a lot of opportunities to get open, and he was more of just a deep pattern type of receiver. But this year, he's going to have to run the full route tree, and hopefully he makes that year 2 leap. I'm excited for his progression. At tight end, Ramel Williams will assume the starting role. He goes up to 81 overall as a true sophomore. Man, he has went up a lot in awareness over the year last year, because he's at 88 awareness as a sophomore. I'm pretty sure he started in the 60s. Now on the offensive line, Derry Gaston is going to be probably one of our best offensive linemen. Sam Price is at 88 overall. Justin Austin, who moved over from tackle to guard, he is at 72. That's a pretty good jump from him. And then Rudolph Guzman, coming off a really good year last year, he moves up to 72 as well. Actually, you know what? He moved up to 75. So let's look at our defensive line. And these are some guys that might end up not playing right now, because at left end, we have Aurelio Villain. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. At right end, though, Anderson Reed goes up to 86 overall. Colson Kavoris goes up to 85. That's a big jump for him. I'm excited for his senior year, but Frankie Kai will be the starter, at least the #1 nose tackle on the roster. David Wyatt improves to 85. Let's just see the jump that Tamari Jameson and Denzel Graham went up, because I need to see some progression out of them. Now, Tamari Jameson is the better tackler, and that's kind of the reason why I want to keep him there. I need a sure tackler, and that's one thing that Victor Dimitri did very, very well last year. He tackled in space, and it definitely held a lot of teams from third down conversions and second and longs and things like that. You know, plays where you just need a tackle, and I'm going to need one of these two guys to step up, both of them actually. At cornerback, Marquise Dorsey and Bamaye will be the senior pair on the outside. They are both at 99 awareness. That just shows the experience we will have with them. Let's just look at their coverage ratings, because they will no doubt be the starters again. Coco Bamaye goes up to 95 man and 93 zone. He is easily one of the best cornerbacks in the nation. Marquise Dorsey also 95 zone, so he beats him out in zone. He gets burnt a little bit, but I am looking forward to what these guys can do. Charles Davis isn't too bad either. Like I said, him and Maverick Yarbrough will both play at that nickel corner position. Now, Ali Myers had a good offseason. Goes up to 85 overall. He's 93 awareness. Let's just look at their tackling here. And this is the reason why I want a nickel corner like Maverick Yarbrough. 87 tackling. That is just amazing. And then Justin Royal goes up to 88 overall. Look out for Lucas McCallum in his senior year. He is an awesome tackler. And let's just look at his tackling rating. It's at 97 with 90 hit power. Now, going into this year, the Big Ten will look a lot different. And part of the reason why is because geographically it just did not make sense before, but now it will start to make sense. Now, a part of that is moving the East and the West around. So, in the West, in our division, Marquette now moves into our division. They will join the West. Minnesota gets promoted from the AAC, so they will now be here. And then Northern Illinois finished top 25 the last 2 seasons. They were in the MAC conference. They had played in the ACC a little bit, even the Big 12 for 1 year. They have now moved over to the Big 10. I am really excited to see what they can do because they have been a team that has made sense geographically. They just needed the success to go with it, so they will join the Big 10. Now, in the Big 10 East, Marshall will now join. I hinted at it last episode, and I kind of said they were in Ohio. They're actually in West Virginia. I knew that. I was just thinking of the Ohio Bobcats because for some reason in NCAA football in some dynasties, Ohio is just like usually a dominant team every year, and I don't know why. But Marshall will now join the Big 10. They will join the West. Navy will now transfer divisions over to the East, and now Navy and Marshall will be the newcomers in the East, and then Pittsburgh, who was in our side of the conference, they will move over to the East. So I'm excited for this. And our protected rivalry in this Big 10 season is going to be Marshall. So we will welcome them to the Big 10 with a game each year if they do stay in the conference. Other notable changes: Arkansas has never won an SEC championship, and they've been in the conference since 1991. So what we're going to do to kind of bulk up the Big 12 a little bit and give Texas maybe some competition, we will move Arkansas into the Big 12. Hopefully Kansas will be good with Adam Miller at coach. I'm really hoping that they will, because the Big 12 has really been a weak conference here in this dynasty. And Appalachian State will also move to the Big 12, hopefully adding some much needed competition there. The SEC looks like this now. The only team to really be added here is South Alabama. They actually finished top 25, so I'm excited to see what they will do, but I am still waiting for Wisconsin to get back into the Big 10. They have not shown that they are good enough yet, so they will definitely need to do well this year. Now, before getting into the preferred walk-ons and our new coaches, let's take a look at our schedule. We will open up the season at home versus Clemson in a national championship rematch. This is a game that I am really looking forward to because we look different and they look different. So this will be an interesting game. The second game will be Oklahoma on the road. And last year we played Oklahoma State. This year, Oklahoma. So another Big 12 opponent that we will be facing. Then we kick off Big 10 play versus Navy at Navy. That's going to be a very tough game, especially since I don't know how our defense is going to look because of stopping the run last year. We had a bunch of guys like Bobby Mathis and Jonathan Simmons that made impacts. I don't know how that'll look. But then we play Michigan State. But then also after that, another big opponent from one of our former players and coaches. We're playing South Carolina, now coached by Quintaris Jones. That will be an interesting game on the road. I hope they are going to be good at that point, and maybe they might be ranked. Our Big 10 schedule to end the season is pretty tough. We play Marshall, Marquette, Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota. Cincinnati might be a little lighter, but then we end the season with Northern Illinois, and who knows how good they will be. At offensive coordinator, we are trotting out Brian Baker. Now, if you just remember, just 2 seasons ago, Brian Baker got a start at quarterback for the Whitetails. Well, he decided not to play football anymore, and we have promoted him to offensive coordinator. So another guy that used to play on our squad is now a coach. And at defensive coordinator, we will bring back outside linebacker, former Whitetail, also former Indianapolis Colt, and top 5 greatest defensive player ever in Whitetails history, Tucker Okonkwo. He returns to the Whitetails. Now, he did have kind of a short career, ended by injury in the NFL. So last year, he was actually on the North Carolina coaching staff. Now he is with us. So welcome back, Tucker Okonkwo. So this season, we will have a new starting quarterback. But we did not expect Marcus Smith to transfer, and now we have to turn to a couple of walk-ons. Both of them have their strengths and weaknesses, but let's start with Jabari Hollywood, a 6'1", 210 freshman. Now, he is athletic. He has speed, 82 speed, 90 acceleration, and pretty good throw power. But that accuracy is just really, really bad at 64. He also has some elusiveness, also can truck and break tackle. I mean, he can run the ball, but his throwing deficiencies are going to hurt him. His awareness is also low. I expect that to go up because throughout the season, it does get hot. At least it increases a little bit. I'm not sure how much though, depending on how good the player performs, but he is the first quarterback. Now, keep in mind that he is 6'1". Now, Deshaun Wilson is a comparable player as far as overall goes, but you know, he's a little bit slower, but he's taller, 6'4", and he's more accurate. So it's going to be interesting. Styles do pick fights, and this guy has a different style. He's more of a pocket quarterback who can move, but I don't know who to go with here. And like I said, I'm going to kind of test these guys out in practice, and I might even have an episode where I do preview next season, because this is going to be a tough decision to pick from these two guys. They both have two different styles, and I will have to make a decision. Maybe even going with a two-quarterback system. You never know. Let's move over to running back, though. We have a new one, and this was the athlete that we did move over, and he ended up being a 70. He ended up being like a 78 overall running back, but I had to decrease his ratings because remember, as a preferred walk-on, you get -3 at each positional attribute. And he ends up being a 76 overall. This is a really good running back here, and I am looking forward to him. And I actually am thinking about not redshirting him, because if I redshirt him, he could possibly transfer, and I do not want to do that at all. But Ivan Neal is going to be an awesome running back, at least for the future. Now, the next two guys are receivers, and they both have their own type of skill set. Action Jackson is a freshman. He's probably going to get redshirted, but right now, as it stands, he has one of the highest spectacular catch ratings on the team, and he needs to develop a little bit more on everything else. You see his catching is low, route running is low, everything's pretty much low at this point. He will definitely benefit from a redshirt. Now, Dawson Kintop, he can benefit from a redshirt as well, but he is a polished route runner out of the gate. 82 route running, only 86 speed though, so he will need to get that up, but I can definitely see a future with him in the slot because he is a great route runner. I really like him. Matthew Eglow, he is a 6'6" outside linebacker, and where he excels is tackling, and I think that one thing that I will get out of him is just experience of backing up these talented linebackers that we have each year. David Wyatt will be the leader for him. Now, defensive tackle is going to look different. Colson Kavoris is a senior. Jake State Farn is a senior. We don't have anybody else to really be the future of this defensive line along with Frankie Kai right now. And up front, I'm looking at Chris Stonehurst. Now, he is going to get redshirted, but he has size and potential. He reminds me a lot of Bobby Mathis. When Bobby Mathis first transferred over to Wisconsin State, he was terrible, to be honest. Like, he could not even touch the field. But then the last couple of years, he started to come on, and especially the last year, he really started to make a real impact. Now, I already highlighted the middle linebacker, Denzel Graham Jr. He is going to be another walk-on, and he's a sophomore this time, so we will keep an eye out for him. But let's just keep an eye out for Seth Bell. Now, he will get the red shirt. He is a good zone cover cornerback, and he's kind of has to work on his tackling a little bit. Now, he will benefit from a red shirt year. And looking at our cornerback depth chart, we have two seniors at the top. Then we have Barry Willis here, who is a true freshman. Now, I am debating not redshirting him because he was a 4-star recruit. There is a chance that he could transfer, and he will start next year. There's no doubt about that. I'm debating it. I don't know whether I'm going to do it or not because I don't want to risk him wanting to transfer, because remember, I don't try to convince guys to stay. So we'll have to see. So that will do it as we go into the 2021 season. The next video probably will take a couple of days. I do have to create all the custom recruits before the season starts and everything like that, and figure out the depth chart. I might have an episode, like I said, where I go through practice, and I also will adjust the sliders too. So I might do just a little preseason preview of season 8. It's going to be a lot of fun. Another great season here in this series. So hit subscribe, hit that like button, stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
Yeah, hey, Hey, filling out these job applications. Life got hard after high school graduation. I went to college and your boy got financial aid. They gave me money, then I went and bought a pair of J's. And I bought a pair of shades. And I bought a new computer. Had $400 left, spent the rest on